Welcome back to the garage here at Basin Motorsports. I'm Canaan, and today I'm going to start assembling my new 3D printer. So a year ago I ordered a PRUSA, I hope I'm saying it right, PRUSA MK3S Plus 3D printer. It's a plastic printer, comes in a box. I ordered the assembly version. This is a retail of $799. I think they're still about the same, but somewhere in that range. Comes in a box. You have to assemble it yourself, and it should take, what I've heard is approximately about a weekend. So I'm going to jump in, get started, and get this thing assembled soon. Inside the box, obviously we have some assembly instructions, which is a pretty thick manual. Flip it open here. Little congratulations deal, and yes, I actually checked. I ordered that, well, it was shipped on the 18th of May of 21. So that's almost a year from where we are. So you have some Goldie Bears here, some Haribo bears, but these are not for eating yet. They're for later on. You have a handbook, which is really nice, and then all of the parts. So let's go ahead and get these all out of the box, and then we'll see what we got. All right, so I'm starting to lay everything out now out of the box. I do like everything so far that it is very well labeled. I feel like the instructions are good. The only trouble I have right now is the instructions. Well, apparently the manual goes from page 16 on the left to page 33 on the right. So I'm missing 16 pages of the instruction manual. Now they do actually have a website with this manual online, so I need to go download it to make sure I have one, the latest one, since this is now a year old, and two, I need to get the other 16 pages. So you can see the diagram there. On the left hand side it shows you the pieces, which I do have laid out, and then it shows you, goes from step 2 to step 35, and well, I need to get those other ones. So I'll be right back and then we'll get started. Alright, so now that I've downloaded everything, I went ahead and downloaded the recent version of the assembly manual, which is about a year later than the actual manual I had. Now again, I was missing a few pages up front, and what I discovered is that when I got to the end, what I thought was about one page 133, I think is where my book ended up, the pages actually went to 150 in the PDF, which is the latest version. So there's a lot of stuff I didn't have really a very good explanation for at the end. There's like 20 something pages I was missing. So I went ahead and finished the printer. Now it probably took me about 14 hours to do. I've seen others say that it took them about 12, but it's not that bad, other than there's three things I would say you probably want to do. One, make sure you have plenty of workspace. This desk right here, which is probably what, 2.5 by 4, maybe 3.5, well, it really wasn't enough. There's a lot of times that I was struggling to have pieces all overlaid each other, so give yourself plenty of space. Two, you're dealing with a lot of small screws, so make sure that you're always working over the surface, because there's a couple times that I dropped screws, a nut, etc. in my lap, and boy, if I had a struggle to find them. And three, make sure you have good lighting, because I struggled to find some of those nuts and bolts with a flashlight. It was frustrating to get those things back, but I did get it. And they give you a spares pack, but you can only go to that well so many times before you're out of your spares, because you keep losing pieces. So once I got everything done, I've now gone through the self-check, I guess you say, where it looks for errors in the pieces. It's now going through the check, so it's checked the fans, it's already checked. Now it's homing the bed, so it's kind of looking at each corner to see if it can find a problem with it. So far, so good. Right now it's looking to see if the nozzle is going to touch the bed at all to adjust the spacing and everything else. So we're just kind of watching it now, letting it do it. It says, well, if it grabs the paper, it's kind of skimming across everything. If it grabs the paper with the nozzle, shut it off immediately and adjust your Z height, which is your up and down. We're on to page, or point 3. Seems to be doing pretty good. So it has now added the sheet. You can see the difference in color. It's kind of like a dark green, forest green, military green, whatever you want to call it. That's the steel sheet that you can print on, and it has checked all corners. And look at that. X and Y are perpendicular. Congratulations! Now let's try to print something. Next is that we are going to get the nozzle ready. So I am going to use PLA, which comes with the kit. You can see there, this is a silver, Galaxy Silver. So it's just kind of like a steel silver, well, and it has preloaded conditions. So on the left is what it is, on the right is where it should be. So it's preheating the nozzle. Let's see what it gets there. It will probably tell me to load the material, and then we are going to try and test print something. All right, we're loading the aero filament up. You see it's got it there. Let's see, we're checking with the correct color. Yes, we are doing silver. Let's do it. All right, now we're going to calculate the distance between nozzle and heat bed. Oh boy, that's stringy. That's exciting. All right, next we're going to do a calibration on Z. So if I show you this here, you can kind of see the orange in there, crisp corners, and especially this piece on the bottom edge here. So it's going to try and print this, and I'm adjusting Z down so it gives me crisp corners and everywhere else. So there we go, it's going down. It's quite the learning curve on this stuff. Alright, so there we go. Let's look at the corner here. Getting better. Getting better. So all I'm doing is just turning the knob on the front, making it go closer to the bed. We're getting there. At least I feel like it, we're getting there. See, it's just dropping filament in there. And this should be close to a, not a liney goop, but it should look like a block based on the picture. If you look at that picture there, how nice it is. We'll see what it comes out. All right, so I finished putting together the printer and getting everything calibrated so that it prints pretty well. Now, on the SD card that comes with the kit of the assembly, they do have printed files. So what this is just a test procedure to make sure everything does well. So it's got crisp corners, you can see here. Now in the beginning I did have some issues with adhesion where the material would start to get colder, and you can kind of see on the edges there at the peaks, you start to get a little bit of lift or warping. So I talked to Craig over at Throttle Stop Garage, and he gave me some suggestions on how to get the material to hold down a little bit more just by raising the temperature of the bed about 20 degrees Celsius. So this last one here is the increase, and it has stuck well, and it's actually sitting overnight. There it goes, it comes up. You can see much difference in the lift of 60 degree bed temperature Celsius, and this is 80. This back one here is 80. So that is a good print. Everything looks good. I'll show you up close. Nice crisp corners on everything. No stringing or anything else. Looks pretty awesome. So at this point, I'm going to consider this a success, and the printer is ready to go to work. So there's a couple more details I can do. There's some more prints you can do. You can print a whistle, like a Triceratops head. There's a couple other SD things on there, but I'm going to skip those and go right into a couple of Corvette parts I downloaded the files for and converted over into code so the printer will do. So those will be the next ones, and there'll be separate videos just kind of showcasing those pieces before I really get into my own designs. But I'm going to throw this out to you. If you watch this video and get up to this point and you think, man, I would like to have something. Now, of course, I have a C5 Corvette here in the garage. I have an 86 Foxbody here in the garage, and I do have parts left over from an 87 and 93. So if there are things that you would like to have printed, and you don't know how to do it, or you have an idea but not sure how to get there, I would say leave it down in the comments or on my about page here on the YouTube channel. You can send me an email and we'll talk through what you would like to have printed. At this point, I can only print designs that I have downloaded, and I can't use those for profit or anything else, so I can print the materials. I have PLA, which is not heat resistant, but it's a good test piece, and I will eventually move over to PET or PETG, however you want to call it, which is a lot more heat resistant, which goes great for interior pieces on the car. I think the new ones on the Corvette I'm going to do in PLA just to get more experience testing and printing, just to kind of get used to it and adjustments. But if you have ideas for parts you would like to see done, things that aren't produced now by anybody else or on the market, let me know, drop a comment. Otherwise, guys, it's 3D printing time. I'm pretty excited for it. And if you have any questions or anything else, we'll see you next time. Leave them down in the comments.